Hello, 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 hello. How are you, world? It is your boy, Mr. C. Aaron Hinton, coming back live with another episode. Let's talk about it. So we have brought back one of our guests from before, Mr. Michael. Introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Michael from the Boogie Down Bronx, New York. Of course, uptown, baby.
Yes, uptown, baby. In town, baby. Yay.
Of course.
All right, so today's show, we're going to kind of revamp it. Like, usually we have, like, a list of topics that we run through. But what we're going to do today is we're just going to kind of shoot the breeze. So that's what we're going to call this, just shooting the breeze with Michael. We're not going to restrict our time to 15 minutes a topic. We're just going to go 30 minutes of just talk. And, you know, I'll hand it over to you, Michael. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to talk about, like, environmental matters that is going on, as well as population control, as well as pollution. And a lot of those subjects really tie into like one thing. Is just really the environment. It's really like one solid topic that just spills down into the entire rest of it.
Right. Okay. So, that being said, let's start with let me see, the DEP, right?
Department of Environmental Protection.
Exactly.
They're pretty good.
Cool. So, what are our thoughts on that? Like, you know,
The DEP. The DEP is pretty is really good. It's a good system that regions around New York. It's an environmental protection plant that sources all of our fresh water to wastewater, to sewage water, and our DEP itself, you know, is a very sufficient tool that flushes and that utilizes and rinses water back out to clean water. And what I notice about the DEP, which is very good, a good thing to our environment, is that it helps keep our ecosystem clean, as well as it balances off a lot of waste from our beaches. And because the people complain a lot of times that our beaches are really polluted. Even though I remember at one time that our beaches were really, really bad in New York City, that nobody really wanted to really be in the ocean over here.
so just the water or the sand too? Like, they didn't want to visit the beach at all, or they would go to the beach but just not get in the water? Like,
It would be that both. It would be the mix of the garbage, because the garbage was one of the issues, but it was also what was actually in the water that was becoming a frightening horror for many visitors that came to the shores.
okay, but if I'm not mistaken, isn't the Parks Department responsible for the beaches?
They are responsible. They hold their responsibility for them. Yes, they have a part to play. But also, what was going on was the contamination when people were dumping their garbage onto the beaches and not being advised to pick it up, because there were signs, but then again they were scattered. But then again, the focal point was really bad because they had a lot of people who did not have, I guess people didn't care. I guess people didn't have the sense enough to think that that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to trash all your waste away. And I feel a lot of times when a lot of people saw the signs and saw the signage that was posted, people still ignored it. And that's when our beaches became more and more contaminated as time went along, and it got worse in certain areas where they had to even shut down beaches, because actually within Brooklyn there is actually beaches that were beaches at a time, and some beaches I believe that we went to, as a matter of fact, where it was utilized as a beach, and then now it became like just like a ghost beach in a sense, where people just come there, but people just don't use it for like swimming and whatnot.
Right, to actually enjoy the beach,
right,
as for the experience it's supposed to be.
Right.
Cool. So before I go back to the DEP, I noticed, because I visit places, we travel and everything like that, and being born and raised here in New York City, you know, you would think that ocean water was green.
Yeah.
You know, dark gray green. Like even on the Staten Island ferry, and you're going across from, you know, the city to Staten Island, that water is just so gray.
It's like a murky kind of color.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting.
And then you see like pictures of like Jamaica and Puerto Rico and, you know, beaches in the Caribbean, and it's like this
actually
clear blue
Florida's
water. Yeah, you know,
Florida's
down
blue.
Yeah, you know, like everyone else on the coast seems to enjoy blue. Even Virginia wasn't, you know, too. It's a little green, but it
was a little bit of mixture.
It's a little murky, but it's definitely lighter than New York City's water.
Right.
So does that, you think like what's going on here? Is it back to the contamination?
Well, a lot of times when it's coming down,
have you ever seen the Hudson River? Like,
yeah, the Hudson River. When we were up state in Poughkeepsie, and I was showing you what the river looked like, I was actually pointing out to you before that the river itself, because it's coming from the stream of the valley in like north of upstate. No, sorry, north of Albany. The well is actually a lot cleaner when it's passing through the state, because it's actually being flushed down properly. But because it comes in contact, when it gets to the city, it starts communicating with more and more bodies of channels of water, so it starts changing over. And I noticed that ever since young, and I asked that question to even one of my teachers, and I asked them, like, why is it for us that we get a whole different sense of the beaches? I mean, the beaches being so, you know, it looks like it's rotting, dirty water, like you wouldn't want to even go in there. He says it's just that way, particularly because it's what's already have came down from since upstate New York and Albany. It's
but a lot of this water, it'll come like from Niagara Falls, I'm guessing.
No, it's actually coming from a little longer. It's coming from like Lake Erie, passing through.
So even there though, but the water's, I'm sure, not green in Lake Erie. Like if you go to Michigan, or, you know, I mean, I've never been, so I can't say, but, you know, I'm pretty sure we could pull up some pictures to see what it looks like. I'm just basically saying, like, in a nutshell, no place looks the way New York water looks.
Yeah,
like New York water is just obviously like,
yeah, New York beaches, unfortunately,
you know, whether you're in the Far Rockaways, wherever, yeah, it's definitely so. Mayor de Blasio has released the new normal combating storm-related extreme weather in New York City, a landmark report that provides New York City with a blueprint to prepare for and respond to extreme weather. So, you know, this is going through the Department of Environmental Protection, and like, what are our thoughts on that? Like,
I did hear a glimpse of what was said in terms of the blueprinting plan, in terms of what he's got stored for coming up for the new administration to take care of. I think that what he started from learning from previous storms that we had in his administration, he's finally coming up with something that will kind of make the day go a little easier when it comes to this stretch of storms.
But I mean, like, we're in the last 2 months of the last term of this mayor, and, you know, isn't it odd, like, when people are on their way out of office, that they try to make all these bold movements when it's like, you know, you had 8 years.
I'm sure he was very responsive to the Hurricane Sandy that we had in 2012, because they had used so much strategy trying to prevent it. But he couldn't come up with. He
even mayor in 2012?
Yeah, he was the mayor in 2012. Yeah,
no, I don't think so, because he only been mayor for 8 years, and this is 2021. So if you take away 8 from,
no, he started. He got his election elected in 2011.
He started in 15.
No, it was his second term. It was the second term.
18, 19, 20, 21. All right, yeah, 2013 was his first term.
Right. Just
so
from the end of 2012.
He was coming in after, who was the
Bloomberg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was coming after Bloomberg.
Right, that guy.
Yeah, that Bloomberg guy.
Who really damaged the city so horribly.
Oh, man, he did a Hurricane Sandy himself.
Right, exactly. Just, you know. Okay, so this new aqueduct project. Aqueduct.
Meaning aqua means like a body of a child.
Yeah, I know. So they have that casino, the Aqueduct Casino, the Aqueduct Racetrack. You know what I mean? I know. So I'm guessing this is going to be in that area, like leaving Brooklyn, going into Queens, specifically the Far Rockaway portion, where that broad channel is there. It's saying on the DEP website that the changes might cause some New Yorkers to notice that their drinking water tastes different. So what's going on? Why is our water tasting different?
Well,
is it for better or for worse?
Well, it can't be for better, because obviously our drinking water, as far as I know, within New York City, seems to have always been rated the best. Actually, I've heard from many people, outsiders from other states, and even from as far as Canada, they say that the drinking water here is fantastic. Mm-hmm. The thing is that what will change is that when they start messing again with the water, with the lands, and how they are going to plan the purpose of how they're going to make things go, everything is going to have like an interruption. So that's to be expected once they start, looking at the landscape. Once they start making, turning on, cutting into the streams and making different valve connections. That will start to disrupt some of what the water tastes like. But as far as I know, the water here comes out crystal clear and it's perfect, and it doesn't have a scent or a taste to it. But it's actually something that is drinkable.
Okay. I just wanted to try that sound effect. I never tried it before. I'll probably use that. So yeah, New York is bold to say that we have the best drinking water in the world, but don't take our word for it. Read it for yourself. So there's obviously a report out, but I don't care what the report says, to be honest, because you can't convince me that this is the best drinking water.
I've actually,
because if it is, then why do we buy so much Poland Spring and so much Deer Park and
I don't use Dairy Spring. I actually what I do is that I literally take the tap water and I boil it. No, I don't even do that. I literally take the tap water, put it in the fridge, put it in the fridge, and I overnight it, and then the next day I drink it.
What's the difference?
I don't really take it up because I want the water to get the condensation of the cold coming from the fridge, so this way it can kill maybe some of the bacteria.
I do know that I have taken a test as far as like pH levels go with the water, and I have noticed that sometimes the water that comes directly out the faucet will be of a better pH balance than that of the water that we purchase in the stores, but not all the time. It's kind of like a 50-50 shot you got there, like hit or miss kind of thing. All right. So since we're talking about and it's not just water; it's also the air quality that they deal with, the Department of Environmental Protection.
Right. I noticed that with the air quality. Strangely enough, you say that. I've seen. I don't know what it is. I guess they were when they were doing these tests. I would see these tanks. It'll be these small tanks, and they would be in. I noticed that it would be in black neighborhoods predominantly, and I don't know why they choose black neighborhoods. I don't know what is the difference. I don't know what's.
It's probably just the geographic location of these communities, because remember.
But they're putting all these purifying things out there, and I'm like, how, and they're running these tests for days, and I'm like, I was ever so skeptical of why they choose to put. A lot of these tanks mobilized, and nobody speaks about it within the community.
Right, including and definitely including the elected officials. Right. So that's as it pertains to the air quality. What else did we want to talk about on this topic? Oh, so we're getting into speaking of air quality, pollution. You know what I mean? What's up with the, like, are we blaming, automobile